Welcome back, travelers, to your referral roadmap. This podcast is dedicated to helping you unleash your personal and business revenue potential by cultivating referral relationships. In this 10-part series, we're giving you the tools to break you free from the productivity traps that keep you overwhelmed, overworked, and underfulfilled. If you've ever felt like no matter how hard you work, you're just spinning your wheels, stuck in a cycle of busyness instead of real progress, this series is for you. This isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. So if you're ready to trade burnout for real momentum, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about the productivity myth, why hard work alone won't get you ahead. And really, to define that, the false belief that busyness equals success. True productivity is about impact, not effort. Working smarter, not just harder. Athena, do you have a story on this for us today?
Girl, I could say so much on this, You know, Jada, so this entire series that we're about to do, can you believe we're in a whole new season and series? It's so excited. For those of you who've been listening along, we're so thankful that you're back, that we're here for you. And again, as we embrace this new topic, Jada, I had a hard time finding people to interview that were stellar at this.
It's a hard skill to be stellar at. I'll give you that.
So anybody listening, if you have somebody who has mad productive skills, please introduce them to Jada and I, because we would like to interview them for our podcast. We will make up another episode just to interview them. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about this because in our society today, Jada, a lot of people think being busy is somehow like a badge of honor, right? However, what I see in coaching is a lot of people burnt out because they're busy and they're not actually being productive. They're not doing the things that they need to be doing, but they're slammed busy. So I want to talk through a little bit about that, about my own personal journey with it, Jada, and what I'm seeing in the coaching realm. So I'd like to unpack both of those. Now, Jada, you jump in anytime during today's episode, actually this entire series, because I do, and I can say with uncertainty that you are an expert at being productive. So we're both a little nerdy, so nerdy that I know we don't like people to look at our calendars because they're a little overwhelmed, but that's okay. So I want to unpack a little bit for listeners today. Have you ever felt like some of my clients that they're like, Athena, I'm overwhelmed. All the demands of everything I have to do for my sales job, my leadership job, my corporation, my business, it's so overwhelming. And I'm busy every day and I end the week with not even knowing what I accomplished. If that resonates with you right now, this theology you really need to listen to, because I don't want you to live that way. And it's not the most productive. So just give you a couple of examples of this. I have a current client that I'm working with, and he came to me and he said, I just can't get it all done. I'm juggling a home life. I'm a dad. I'm juggling my real estate business, and I'm, a husband, and I'm trying to juggle all of this, and I'm screwing up on everything, and I feel overwhelmed and unproductive and unsuccessful. Now, I'm thankful people like that reach out for coaching. That shows a lot of wisdom so that you know that you can get unstuck. And so one of the things we did at the very beginning with him is to sit down and think through what was making him so busy, right? What was making you so busy? And we'll do the rubber meets the road, but I want to tell you guys, when we started mapping out and everything that was keeping him busy, we started to see he was busy doing a lot of things that either needed to be delegated or weren't high priority. And he was neglecting what I say the essentials, the money-making activities or the life-giving activities. So prioritization is key to productivity. Busyness is not. Okay? Busyness gives us a false sense of accomplishment. Sometimes we even, Jada, we have to be careful, and I've seen this in clients, that we get validation from being busy. And so let me go tell my own story. So I like to tell you guys, I'm a recovered workaholic. I'm a recovering workaholic. I still love to work, but I'm not a workaholic. And And so I had to figure out, okay, how do you go from somebody who's a workaholic, will work as many hours in the day to get things accomplished, to somebody who limits how many hours a day she works in order to still have a life. And honestly, you guys know my story, also to juggle taking care of my daughter. But how do you do it? Well, before, when I was a workaholic, I loved telling everybody how busy I was. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted the t-shirt, the hat, the bookcase. I wanted everybody to know I'm busy. And if I'm busy, then I'm important, I'm valuable. That's a scary slope. That's a scary slope. I always say this, don't get your emotional needs met at work. And I'm telling you, I did by being busy. Now, fast forward after I learned a lot of what Jada and I are going to teach you in this series, I actually do more with less time now because I'm no longer interested in being busy, but productive, right? So, productivity, what are you impacting? What are you actually accomplishing? So these are the things that we want to talk and through. And I want you to know you're not alone. This subject is extremely difficult. Going back to one of my clients, two different clients I currently have right now, we're going through and unpacking their productivity. And I know we just did a webinar on this as well, Jada, where we unpack this even deeper. But in both cases, these are successful people already. But when I asked them what were their money making activities in business and their life sustaining priorities, they looked at me like I had a horn. Like I had a horn. That sounds really easy. It's simple. It's not easy. It's simple, but not easy. It's not something that we often enough sit back and say, you know what? What are those things? What are the things that I must get done that actually make impact? So I'm going to wrap it up with one story. My very good friend, Taylor Richardson, who's about to speak at a conference with me, is going to be on the stage. I roped him into that. But he's been on our podcast already. I have a lot of respect for him. Great guy. But about 8 years ago, his little girl had to be in the NICU unit for several months. And they have an older son. And you can imagine he wanted to be there for his little girl. He wanted to be there for his wife. He was, and obviously wanted to be there for their son. It was an emotionally trauma, hard, difficult time. And he and I were friends, and he talked to me and he was like, how am I going to do this? He had really was 2 years into owning his own insurance business. And what he did is this. He identified what were the priority things that if he didn't do during those months, his business would fail. And he allowed everything else. He's like, I'll get to it. And if I was interviewing him right now, here's what he would tell you. Because that life circumstance made him have to identify his priorities, focus on those priorities, and get organized and not allow for busyness and busy work to take up his time, he had, to that date, the most profitable 3 months he had had to date. That is the power of being productive versus being busy, is identifying what are those things. Now, I will tell you, he would tell you, once his life calmed down, he had to fight, Jada, not getting busy again, right?
Totally.
To stay being productive. So those are just some examples that I wanted to share with you of people coming in and coaching with me right now. And this is what we're unpacking. This is what friends of mine, and this is my life. This has helped me achieve, honestly, 5 times more than I ever have in half of the time. And so this entire series, we want to give you as much nuggets and true support to allow you to apply something that is life-changing for you to get your life back and be productive. So, but enough of story worries. You tell me. I know there's some facts and figures in this, and I love the facts and figures, so give them to me.
Definitely. Well, first, I want to start off too by just encouraging anyone that is a leader to also see this through the lens of how their team can utilize this information.
Mm.
Because just from personal experience, I've been on a team in the past where it was you clock in at 8, you clock out at 4, and that. It didn't matter how much work I'd gotten done in the day. It did not matter if I finished my priorities and all my things I needed to do at noon. Like that was the expectation, and so just for our leaders listening, I think that this is important just to hear for one yourself and apply these for your own business, but also just for your team to know that busyness does not equal productivity. And so just encouraging the leaders to see that through the other lens as well. But
Yeah, hey, that's a great point. Can I piggyback on that? I know we were going to facts and figures, but
yeah,
that's
go
great.
for it.
No, I used to before I, 15 years ago, before I started the consulting business and the home building business, I worked for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the workaholic at that point. So I was the first one in and the last one out.
Yep.
This boss, for whatever the reason, decided he was going to start making me track how many minutes I took at lunch. Are you kidding me? So guess what I did over time?
You probably stopped. You probably started working through your lunch.
No, I
Oh,
stopped. Here's what I did. I stopped coming in early and I
oh,
stopped
there you
staying
go.
late.
Yep.
I was like, if you're going to because I got to be honest. Yes, that was a little snarky, but here's the thing. He wasn't valuing me. He wasn't valuing the productivity I was giving him. He wasn't even valuing the minutes I was giving him.
Mm-mm.
He wanted control more than he wanted productivity. As a leader, you will run excellent talent away. Jade and I are going to tell you, if you want to run away excellent talent, micromanage every minute of our day, right? Don't do it, because high performance people, we know how to get things done. So anyway, that's an excellent point. But now let's go into the facts and figures. But I'll get on my soapbox on that one. Whew.
Hey, you and I both. Awesome. So there's two things I wanted to talk about here, and then I want to get into, or actually three, sorry, and then I want to get into some concepts too. But the productivity paradox is the first one. So a study by Stanford University shows that working more hours doesn't lead to more output. In fact, after 50 hours per week, productivity sharply declines, and after 55 hours, there's little to no additional gain. So just saying. And the impact on that is the overwork leads to diminishing returns, mistakes, and burnout, like Athena said earlier, proving that more effort does not equal more results. And then multitasking is a lie is the second one I wanted to go into. Also, a Stanford University research done in 2009 says the brain can't truly multitask. It switches between tasks, reducing efficiency by up to 40%. The impact there is that deep, focused work is far more effective than spreading attention across multiple tasks. And then the third thing is the 80-20 rule, or also known as the Pareto principle. It is Vilfredo, I hope I'm pronouncing that, Pareto from 1896. Wow. Says that 80% of results come from 20% of efforts in most areas of business and life. So the impact there is that high achievers don't work harder on everything. They focus on the 20% that drives the biggest impact. And then some concepts I wanted to share and unpack is unpacking the difference between busy versus productive. So busy work feels urgent but doesn't drive your results. It's reacting to emails, calls, and interruptions all day long. It's attending meetings with no clear purpose or outcome, and task switching constantly leading to inefficiency. Whereas productive work creates measurable progress towards a goal. It's focused, deep work on high impact activities. It's strategic, planned efforts that align with your priorities, and it's saying no to distractions and low value tasks. There's one other thing I wanted to unpack is shifting from reactive to intentional work.
That's good.
So your reactive mode is checking emails, messages first thing in the morning, letting other people's priorities dictate your day, feeling overwhelmed and never getting to the important work, and constantly switching between tasks with no clear plan. And intentional mode is controlling your schedule instead of it controlling you, focusing on high leverage work that creates impact, setting up systems to limit distractions and interruptions, and having clear pre-planned structure for your day. So, also known as time blocking.
Hey, Jado, I'm on the fly here,
Yeah.
but I think that we should make a resource out of this. And if anybody, just this concept that you just went over,
Yeah,
man, I could see these being on a 3x5 card somewhere for somebody.
totally.
Um, if I'm just going to put it out there, I know Jada has the capacity to create a little form for you guys. If there's anybody that's listening and you would like that free resource, um, give us your information and we will make sure that you get that. Or go to our website at athenacaptain.com and let us know that you're interested in episode 1 of season 5 of productivity.
I say I'll make it even easier for you guys. If you go to the show notes, I will have a link to all, or in the show notes, I'll have a link to all of the show notes for this episode. And there will be a form where you can submit your information and download this resource that I'll create. So there we go.
Much easier. Although you can come to the website if you want to.
Well, it does take you to the website.
Okay. See,
but
all right. This is awesome because you guys, this is a good quick glance, Jada. This was a good resource that you came up with.
Definitely.
Because it's just a good quick, hey, look at this and check yourself really quickly. Am I being busy or productive? Am I being reactive or intentional? I love that. Thank you so much. That is a great resource. That's the drop mic of the day, by the way.
There you go. Awesome. Well, happy to make it as easy and digestible too, so people can use that just on a daily basis.
I love it. I love it. All right. So I want to continue with what do we do, right? Okay, I identify, hey, Athena, I feel this way. Hey, Jada, I get the stats. I love the resource tool that you guys are coming up with. But what do I do? What can I be doing? And this is, again, where I hope that you are like and subscribe and taking notes. I think eventually we're going to even have notebooks available to you guys to be able to purchase and take notes. Jada's working on another little fun project. She's very creative. But here's the rubber meets the road for this. Step one, set clear daily focus. Okay. So I want you to think about, I would prefer that if I was coaching you, I would have you plan your whole month, but sometimes that's a little overwhelming to start. So today I wanted to keep it a little bit more simple and say, what are the 3 wins I want to win today? Okay. Instead of having an endless to-do list, really get focused. What are 3 things I have to accomplish today? If you're just getting into this. Now, you also can use the Eisenhower metrics. You can Google that, but really it's a simple thing. It says urgent and important, do it now. Important, not urgent, schedule it. Urgent, not important, delegate it. If it's neither, delete it, right? Okay, so that is a very simple guideline. If you want to even figure out, if you have a hard time, Athena, I don't even know what wins, that's a good metrics to try to figure it out. But at this point, what are 3 things you've got to get accomplished today to be productive? And celebrate those wins, okay? When you do them, celebrate them. The serotonin in your brain needs to feel that celebration, so it reinforces that good positive behavior. Really important. We do too much negativity, beating ourselves up. I want to get us to the point where we're praising ourselves. Okay, step 2, own your mornings instead of letting them own you. This is key. I know you have probably heard podcasts or TikToks about people very successful that talk about the importance of getting up and owning the beginning of your day. If you get up, and there's a general that talks about, or an admiral, I think he's an admiral, that talks about make your bed every day because you need a win at the beginning of the day. Whatever it is, you want to start your day with like, I'm winning. So own your morning instead of letting it control you. Do not start your day with checking your emails first thing. Emails are not the most urgent in a business. Phone calls, texts are a little bit more urgent. Emails are not. So think of something else you can do first thing in the morning that is far more productive. Being a prospecting person, I like to say get your prospecting done in the morning because eat your vegetables first. because you don't want to do those things. Like get the hard stuff done first. So think about that. If you, by the way, if you look at your emails first, Jada, what happens? Other people control your day.
I'll be so honest, Athena, and
Oh,
I'm I'm
yeah,
feeling so called
I
out
knew
right
it.
now. I I do time block, so everyone knows that's listening. But my first time block of the day is to check email and Slack. But I do that. I know I'm going against what you're teaching right now.
That's
I
right.
I do that so that I can time block the things that are actually important, and things that are not important I'll mark as unread, and then I'll go back to them at a different point in the day. But that's just in case I have anything that comes through that needs to be done that day. I like to check that first thing and then time block as as required. But um, I'm so sorry. I'm feeling called out.
No, because well, here's the thing. You also are extremely disciplined because
I
you
am.
have been doing time blocking forever. I think you did it from birth. So here's the difference. No, this is a great conversation. If you are somebody who has embraced productivity training for a long time, then you can do what Jada is doing. Because here's the difference. Jada can do that and not get derailed for the day.
This is true. I only allow myself 15 minutes to check email. Like I don't. That's as much
Yeah.
time as I need to go through
So
and
this is
prioritize.
important. If you're out there and this is already a skill set that you kind of have, then you can allow yourself that little check in.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a new concept, trust me, you will not have the discipline to take 15 minutes, do what you got to do, and get out of there. You'll
That's
get
true.
sucked into the black hole.
Very true.
So know who you are. Okay, know who you are, and you can be a Jada that is disciplined about it, or you can be most people who will get sucked into the black hole. Okay, it's you just do you, whatever's going to work for you. By the way, you're not alone, Jada. I do know other people that do it just like you do. They do a check in, and see what they need to do, and then move on.
Totally.
Um, the other thing is using 90-minute rule. Now I'm gonna give this rule, and today I feel like we're doing some gray zones, but that's okay. A use 90-minute rule is blocking out 90 minutes to do that deep work. So Jada already talked about in the science that if we do focused work, we get more accomplished. This is science. I have seen it work with my clients. I've seen it work with my team. Jada and I will tell you that too. Without distractions, your brain is highly capable of achieving so much more if you focus. The only time I'm going to say 90 minutes doesn't work, though, 90 minutes I know works well for me. Jada, I know you can work in a 90-minute block. If you are somebody who struggles with ADD or ADHD, 90 minutes may be too much. A 60-minute, 50-minute time block may be the maximum your brain can stay that focused and that productive. Know who you are, don't be ashamed of it, and time block accordingly. Okay. I always just say don't ever time block in less than 15 minutes unless it's a phone call. If it's something that you have to be creative, give your brain some time to ramp it up and show you how intelligent it is. So 90 minutes is fabulous unless your brain, you struggle with focus. Okay. Then make those a little bit shorter. All right. So step 3, time block like a CEO. Now, what does this mean? Create no-fly zones. Man, you guys, I was just talking to a client yesterday. She manages an entire sales team at a title company, and we were looking at her productivity and what she's doing and how much the team is taking in her time. And it's not being productive for the team, and it's not being productive for her. And so we talked about she needs to not only create no-fly zones where people can't interrupt her, but also teach her team to have no-fly zones, right? Where it's uninterrupted, where you can focus on a task. For those of you who are brand new to this, do not start with 5 hours of uninterrupted. That may be a culture shock to those around you and yourself, but start with these are, this time, this is what I'm going to accomplish. I do have to tell a little funny story to this.
Yeah.
When at Turner and Son have the home building business, when we all used to office together before we went remote, and before I really started focusing on the consulting business so much, I had my office, and I had Pam used to be my assistant. And if my door was shut, everybody knew I was doing a prospecting, money making activity, and no one was to interrupt me because I was in a zone. And by the way, that zone is what kept everybody having a job. So, kind of important, right?
Yeah, I would
If
say.
you're the prospector, if you're the rainmaker, you're the person making sure everybody else has business. So, Pam, one day, one of our trades came in. You know him, Tim Prevey. He came in and he just saw that that was my door, and he just went and knocked on the door of my office. And Pam, my assistant, you guys, who was, a lady in her mid 60s. I love her. She's like a mom figure to me. All of like 4'11, came running out and was like, "Stop! It's her prospecting time. We do not interrupt her." Like, she was so like, he was like, "I am so sorry. I'm so sorry."
That's amazing.
Funny. But I want to tell you, that's how much of a culture we had created to protect the rainmakers, the people who were bringing the revenue in. Everyone on the team knew during their no fly zones, they were doing something so productive, we all needed to respect it. So take that and respect it for your own life. And then think about where you need to be respecting it for those you're working with too. Um, Another thing that you can do is in time blocking like a CEO, batch similar tasks. Okay, this sounds really easy, but I see people struggle with this. Handle emails, calls, or admin work in designated blocks instead of just switching back and forth, right? I tend, Jada, you know this. You know when I'm in my email.
Oh yeah, because it's like ding, 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 ding.
And you won't get emails typically from me all day long.
No, it's like very concentrated all at once.
It's like she won't get an email for like 12 hours and then she's like, boom, there's 15 emails. But it's because when I get into my emails, I want to be focused on the emails, get them accomplished, move on, so etc. So blocking those things out. I understand we've got to answer texts, we've got to do emails. I understand that. And then another thing is scheduling thinking time. Man, Jada, this is something that took me a minute to really allow myself to do. But high performers don't just do, they step back and they have strategy. So giving yourself time to step back and work on your business, work on yourself, um, and or just breathe, right? So scheduling that time. All right, that was step 3. All of those were just step 3. There's a lot going on here today. So step 4 here, cut out energy drains, okay? Identify your time wasters. This one hurts. I'm talking social media, unnecessary meetings, pointless busy work, um, you know, water cooler talking to people at the office, etc. Be honest with yourself where you're wasting time. Um, use, I love this, hell yes or hell no rule. Darren Hardy has this, and I wanted to include this because you guys know he's my mentor. If there's anything that's a hell yes, you do it. If it's a I don't know, don't do it. That's a good gauge. Like, yeah, that's going to make an impact. Now, that doesn't mean for those of you, as I just taught a class this morning, those of you who are responsible to generate leads, you don't get to say, no, I don't want to prospect. You have to say, hell yes, I'm going to prospect because I'm going to make money. Just FYI, just laying that out there. um, the other thing to cut out energy drains, and I talked about this morning in a training as well, but automate or delegate. So once you prioritize and understand those productive, the money making, the productive things that are actually having impact, you need to look at what could I automate to give myself time, and then if you have enough revenue, what can I delegate? Okay, that's important to give yourself energy back. All right, and last step. I hope you guys are writing all this down. They're like all tired. Win the evening to win the day. So we talked about winning the morning, and I call them your bookends, the beginning and the end. Make sure that you already have a plan for tomorrow. Please do not wake up in the morning and have no idea what you're going to get done the next day. Okay. You want to know the night before, what am I going to, how do I need to show up tomorrow? right? How do I need to show up? And write out 3 things you want to accomplish. We already talked about you need to know them in the morning. Good time in the evening is to figure out what you got to accomplish tomorrow. Um,
Can I add something onto this that's like
Please,
a little bit
yeah,
more personal, like on a
yeah,
like once you're at home, kind of like to set you up for success the next morning? It's something that I've done since becoming a mom because I didn't honestly used to bother me before, but is kind of having like a shutting down the house ritual at night of like
yeah.
the kitchen is clean before I go to bed because if I wake up and the kitchen is messy and it has dishes from the night before, I have such a hard time being in like a just ready to go mood and mentality. And so that can set up even my workday for better success to like know that about myself. And so, anyways, just like that's like on a personal, like once you get home level, that may be something that's helpful for people. Cause I know that that helps clear my mind and start the day fresh if I walk into the kitchen to make breakfast and it's clean from the night before. So,
I love
just some
that.
food for thought.
And by the way, what do I think about dishes in the sink?
You loathe it.
I love it. I think yeah, anyway, we won't even get into that, but I do agree with you. Know what you need to do. One of the things that, to piggyback on that, Jada, I always know if I'm going to do a podcast or if I'm teaching or speaking, what am I doing so that if I need to lay out an outfit that
Yep.
I know will make me feel good for whatever the next day holds, I'll
Hmm.
do that the night before.
Yep.
So lay that out. And interesting, I know this sounds really silly. When I do that the night before, when I wake up, I get excited, like, oh, I'm going to wear that and I'm going to feel pretty today, or I'm going to feel good today. um and it becomes not a burden but
Hmm.
something exciting. So
Totally.
whatever it is that makes you listeners get excited about, hey, what can I do tonight to be excited about waking up tomorrow? You want to make sure that you do that. And then it says here, my last little thing was having a shutdown ritual, whatever that looks like. It's just something to tell your brain like the day is over. I
Hmm.
love having a little bit of gratitude, ending your day with a prayer or like, I'm thankful today for whatever it may be, so that you can go to bed on a happy note. But my final challenge, really, as we wrap this up today, is I gave you a lot, and we're going to have resources for you. I know it was a lot. This subject is really important. It's something I have seen literally stop people in their tracks from living their purpose. So, final challenge, pick one of these strategies and implement it today. Just one. You can get there. You can listen to this again and pull out another one. Just take one strategy. What's the first step? And get going on it. As my husband likes to say, you can't stir a parked car. You got to keep going. So pick one thing and get that car going, because that's where the rubber meets the road. So Jada, where do we go from here?
Awesome. I love it. Well, in this week's show notes, I will make sure to include a link for you all to download our season 5 resource guide, which is a little bit different than the resource card that we're going to provide you. So just to clarify, there will be one link that'll lead you to both resources. And then you will also find a link in that resource to join our Success Revolution. It is our weekly blog that will send weekly growth strategies straight to your inbox. So remember, smarter, not harder, straight to your inbox. And don't forget to like and subscribe below so you can join us next week as Athena brings some real talk and real strategies on prioritization power, how to really identify what can move the needle in your business. So we cannot wait to see you next week. But thank you again for joining us for season 5, episode 1. It's great to have you guys back and can't wait to see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.